We drove straight to the hospital.
Do you remember more or less how long it took to get to the hospital?
Ingabe usakhumbula ukuthi kwanithatha isikhathi singakanani ukusuka endlini uyofika esibhedlela?
Noma ngingasakhumbula ukuthi akubanga isikhathi eside.
Although I can't remember, but it wasn't a long time.
You also testify that you had to fold his legs. Can you explain to the court why was it necessary to do that?
Ushilo-ke ukuthi futhi kwaye nesidingo sokuthi nifinyeze iy'nyawo zakhe. Ungasho ukuthi yini eyaniphoqa ukuthi nenze lokho?
Njengoba sengishilo ukuthi wayesindu Senzo nanokuthi kwasekuphuthuma.
As I previously mentioned, that Senzo was heavy, and the fact that we were in a rush, we were hurrying.
So kwakuyimi nomthoko noZandi ngemuva.
So people who sat at the back, it was myself, Mtogo, and Zandi.
So kwakukhona ukuthi simshifte ngoba sasephuthuma so kwafoldeka imilenze yasifuna sekuvala isicaba.
So it was, as I'm saying that we were in a rush, so it was difficult to just get him in, so we had to bend his legs and then close the door.
Nanokuthi ke wayengeke angene wonke kanje esitini yangemuva.
And the other thing is that he would not have been able to go straight like this at the back seat, my lord, just to put him straight in like that.
And were all the doors of the vehicle closed when you're transporting him to hospital?
Ngalesikhathi nihamba naye-ke nimsa esibhedlela zayivalwe zonke iy'cabha zemoto.
Yebo zayivalwe zonke.
Yes, all of them were closed.
And do you perhaps remember how Kelly's mother got to the hospital?
Ingabe usakhumbula yini ukuthi umaka Kelly yena wafika kanjani esibhedlela?
Angazi ukuthi wafika kanjani.
No, I don't know how she got there. I don't know.
Yes, sir, you may proceed.
Usungaqhubeka.
You mentioned that Mtokozi Zitwala remained at the hospital. What happened to you?
Ushilo-ke ukuthi uMthoko wasesala ngasemuva-ke nesibhedlela kwenzekani-ke ngawo?
Kuno munye u-anti ohamba ngemoto eCorolla, Toyota Corolla.
Okay.
I think lo wanginika ithawula ne.
Okay, ngaphambi kokuthi uhambe uma ukhuluma ngo-anti ukhuluma ngani? Sikhuluma ngomuntu omdala, sikhuluma ngomuntu olekelela endlini, sikhuluma ngani?
Umuntu omdala kunami.
Okay. There is this lady older than me who was traveling in a Toyota Corolla. And it's the same lady that gave me the face cloth.
Ngabuyisana naye mina. Ubuye esibhedlela because uMthoko angazi wasala wenze njani nalaba abanye.
Because I don't know what Mtogo did when he remained behind, and when I went back now from hospital, I went back with this lady. Wahamba no mama lo.
Yes.
So you went back with her to where?
Uhamba naye nibuyela kuphi?
Sibuyela endlini la besikho.
Back to the house where we were.
Yes, you may proceed.
Masibuyela endlini sifike sekugcwele amaphoyisa sekunama danger table. Then bathatha namafoni ethu.
Okay. Ama-danger tape yini? Angizwe kuwe. All right. When we got back to the house, my lord, they were full of police, and they had cordoned off, and they also took our cell phones. Confiscated our cell phones.
If I can ask that photos 1 and B of Exhibit A be shown. My lord, they appear on page 6 of the exhibit bundle A. Can you mentioned that the place was cordoned off. Can you just describe what appears on the photo?
Usushilo ke ukuthi amaphoyisa ayesefake ama-danger tapes usungasho ukuthi ubonani kulesa sithombe.
Bekufake wona lawa engilawa ngathi lapha ngemibhalo emnyama la.
Those I'm referring to those tapes, the ones, the yellow one which with some right, it's written on in black. Witness pointing to the yellow tape, my lord, around the wall. Photo 1.
Yes. Yeah, you can carry on. So when you go there, just tell us step by step what happened when you got to the house.
Sicela ke manje ke ngokulandelelana ke ungajahike ukuthi nifikileke endlini kwase kwenzekani ngokulandelelana.
You get out of the vehicle, you realize the place is cordoned off. What happens next?
Niphumile emotweni nifike nema ke naphuma emotweni nabona ke ukuthi kufakwe la ama tapes nenzani.
Singenile ne saya endlini ngaphakathi.
We went inside the house.
Were there other people inside the house?
Babekhona abanye abantu ababengaphakathi endlini.
Babekhona bekugcwele khona abantu abamngenyawo namaphoyisa ephethe ibhamu.
Yes, my lord, it was full. There were people that were standing on their feet, and there were police that were carrying firearms.
Are you referring to the people inside the house?
Sikhuluma ngaphakathi endlini.
Yes, bakhona amaphoyisa engaphandle kukhona nangaphakathi.
Yes, there were police outside, there were also police inside.
Yes. Yes, you may proceed.
Bekhona nenye indoda nje le ndoda bathi umfundisi nje because iyangise ekamereni yongithandazela. Because bengikhala ngaleso sikhathi.
There was another man as well, and I was told that this man was a pastor because he took me to the bedroom to go and pray for me because I was crying at the time.
Yes. Which room?
Kuliphi kamera?
I think ile first room le lokuqala leli la bengichazile beqala ngithi kwangeni ukheli labo leli mophume eminyango wasethi I think leli la kuqala.
I think it's the first bedroom that I earlier on referred to, my lord, just as to come out of the dining room, the first one where I earlier on said that Kelly went into.
Yes. Yes, you may proceed.
Bathatha ne statement ke because khona ilathatha statement but angeke ngalikhoma.
They also took statements because there was this one who was taking statements, but I won't be able to point that one out.
Yes. Yes.
Yep. Then after that sa escortwa sisiya eMalbathi.
Thereafter, we were then escorted to Malbatin.
Yes. Yeah. Just before that, Mr. Matala, when you came back from the hospital and went into the house, for how long did you stay in the house?
Nibuyile ke esibhedlela nangena phakathi endlini, ingabe nahlala noma nachitha isikhathi esingakanani phakathi endlini?
Yeah, wahlala endlini. Wahlala before sabe.
We spent time before we left.
Ngisho isikhathi ukuthi isikhathi ngana but wahlala.
Although I'm not certain about the time as to how long was the time, but we spent time at the house or in the house.
Yeah.
And did you go straight into the first bedroom when you came back from the hospital and remain there for the rest of the time, or what was the position?
Ingabe kwenzeka kanjani wathi uma ngaba nifika senibuye esibhedlele ungena kwakho nje wangena waya kulelo kamera lelo oqeda usitshela ngalo ukuthi wayothandazela kulona wahlala lapho noma kwenzekani?
No, angifikanga same time ngabe ngine because ngangakamazi nalo umfundisi ukuthi umfundisi.
No, it's not a matter of immediately when we arrived I went into that room, because by then I didn't know that pastor or that person was a pastor.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because mabethatha amafoni bawathathela iminyango baphethe plastic. Mabethatha amafoni wethu bawathathela bengisemnyango ngaleso sikhathi.
Because when they took the phones or when they confiscated the phones, they were at the door and they were carrying a plastic.
Which door?
Besingasemnyango, besingasetongini mos emnyango, etongini la ebekupake khona imoto mayithatha usende besingalapho.
Okay, we were at the next to the wall, that is the wall that is close to the door when they took the cell phones.
Which door are you referring to?
Umuphi nomnyango okhuluma ngawo?
Nawuphuma le side elingala not emnyango. Bebesemnyango hayi umnyango door ngaphandle outside.
Okay.
Bebe la ingala kwa imoto yahlehlela khona lapha lusiphaza ngakhona.
Oh, it was
Yeah.
on the side that has the white writing or inscription on.
So this
Okay,
person
you pointed.
who took the phones was outside the house,
Why ngaphandle
but
nje?
on the side where we see some writing in white.
Lapha lapha namhlophe ngithi.
Yes,
That's correct, my lord.
somewhere around.
Somewhere around there.
Ibona kodwa nje la ngaphakathi.
But
Now, at which stage were the phones confiscated?
ama-phones athathwe nini?
I think sathatha sesibuya esibhedlela, sathatha sesibuya kwami senze esibhedlela I think.
It was when we came back from hospital.
So was it immediately when you entered the premises that the phone were confiscated?
Niphume nje emotweni ngangena ngaphakathi egcekeni kwabe sithathwa ama-phones noma kwenzeke kanjani?
Angisakhumbulile
I
but
can't
iphumla
recall.
umuntu wathatha amafoni besemnyango because bephethe iplastic evalwayo. Sawufaka phakathi kuyo leyo plastic leyo.
I can't recall or remember well, but the person, as I said, stood outside, and that person had a plastic one that you are able to seal, and took our cell phones and placed it inside there.
If you say our cell phones, who are you referring to?
Uma uthi ama cell phones ethu ukhuluma wobani?
Eyami yathathwa if ngikhumbula kahle yami eyakakhile enye
If I remember correctly, it was mine, it was Kelly's,
eyakazandi ne
Zandi's.
umthoko wayithathwa ngakho because akabuyanga nathi.
Ntogo's cell phone was not confiscated because he did not come back with us.
Yes.
You explained earlier on that you were using crutches as you had a plaster cast on.
Ushilo ke ngaphambilini ukuthi wawusebenzisa ama-crash ngoba wawunokhonkolo.
Yeah.
Yes.
Now, when you went to the hospital, did you take your crutches along?
Nkathi ke uhamba noma nihamba niye esibhedlela, ngaba ama-crash akho wahamba nawo?
No, angiwathathanga ama-crash.
No, I didn't take them.
Yes, just explain.
ngicela ke ukuthi uchaze.
ayiphansi ne cause angithi ngisho ukuthi uzani babeshaya ngawo lo munye umuntu ne lo mfushane.
All right, ke bamba lapho. My crashes were on the floor. As I previously explained that Zandi, they were using them to assault the short guy. Okay, Busa Kubet.
Yeah.
Yes, may I continue?
Nokhonkolo engangufakile ngangofaka ngunyawo lonke kwakuyilo munye omkhulu wodwa ofake ukhonkolo ukuthi uhamba so uzubamba ukuthi ungaphumi ukhonko ngangilimele kulo munye omkhulu waka right.
As
Not
well
ukuthi
as
ngangakwazi ngisho ukuhamba.
it's not a matter of that I was unable to walk, because even the plaster cast that I had on was not for the entire foot, but it was just for the big toe, just to hold the big toe.
Yes.
Now, if you say the crutches were on the floor, which floor are you referring to?
Uma uthi ke amakrashi aye phansi, usho phansi kuphi?
I think ayese kitchen.
I think they were in the kitchen.
At what stage were they at the kitchen?
Kwakungasiphi isikhathi noma ayese kitchen nini?
Angisakhumbuli kahle but ngabuza ukuthi because ngabuza ukuthi ngiwathathe kwathiwa ngingawathathi.
Okay, I can't remember well because I asked or I inquired whether I could take them, and then I was told not to take them.
When did you ask? After returning from hospital or before?
Wabuza ngaphambilini kokuthi niye esibhedlela noma senibuyile esibhedlela?
That is buyile esibhedlela I think.
When we came back from hospital.
By whom?
Ubuza kubani?
I think omunye wamaphoyisa ayekhona lapha endaweni.
I think it was one of the police officers present there.
Yes.
Then after
Yes. And did you make any observations there in the kitchen upon your return?
Ingabe ekubuyeni kwenu ke kukhona nje wakubona lapha ekitchen kathi senibuyile ke manje esibhedlela?
Into engayinothisa phansi noma ngingazi kwakuyisiphi isikhathi into engayinothisa phansi kwakunesixoko.
What I noticed, which was on the floor, there was a head,
Nawo lama crutches futhi la.
as well as the crashes.
Yes.
Yes.
Yebo.
And where was the head?
Sasekuphi isigqoko leso?
Sasiphansi ekitchen.
It was on the floor in the kitchen.
And which head was this? Are you able to describe it?
Ngakwazi ukuthi kwakuyisiphi isigqoko lesi ungasichaza?
Bekuyisigqoko esisikotshi esincane amasinamabala amnyama na black. I mean amnyama na white.
It was this small Scotch hat which had black and white colors.
Yes.
And do you know how it happened to be there on the floor?
Uyazi ukuthi kwenzeka kanjani ukuthi sibe lapho phansi?
Angazi ukuthi kwenzakala kanjani kodwa indoda yangena le ndoda uyigqoke ijacket le nesigqoko.
I don't know how it happened that the head was there on the floor, but the man that came in that was wearing the jacket as well as the hat.
Yeah, just once again explaining, you say the man who you are referring to.
Uma ukhuluma ke ngendoda eyangena ukhuluma ngobani?
ngale mfishane beyenza ama-thread.
The short one with the dreadlocks.
Yes?
Yes, you may continue.
Usungaqhubeka ke.
I think leso sigqoko mhlambe bekuphilonga kuyona because iye angena endlini igqoke leso sigqoko lesiphethe isibhamu.
I think that hat maybe belonged to him because he's the one that came into the house wearing that hat, carrying a firearm.
So who are you referring to, just for record purposes?
Ukhuluma ngobani?
Uma ngale ndoda mfishane beyenza ama-thread.
I'm referring to the short man with the dreadlocks.
Yes?
Yes, you may continue.
Usungaqhubeka ke.
Masuka ke lapho sekukwenzele sasuka sa angimazi lo muntu wesport osigadile saya la bekuhlala khona uSenzo noKhini eMalbathi.
From there, I don't know this person that was kept guard over us and also escorted us to Malbatin, where Kelly and Senzo were staying.
Badwa impofu nje ebusweni kodwa ikhanya kakhulu angazi ukukhalada impatho impofu ebusweni. Lo muntu escort wakasigadi. Wayikhanya kakhulu impofu.
This person, my lord, I don't know whether the person was colored or what, but it was very light in complexion.
Was he a civilian? Was he a police officer?
Kwakuwumuntu nje noma kwakuyiphoyisa?
Anginalo ulwazi nalapho.
I have no knowledge of that.
Did you say he was in civilian clothes?
Waye ingaba impahla wayegqokile, wayegqoke impahla zakhe noma
Eish. Angisakhumbuli kahle la.
I can't recall.
Complexion yakho ukuthi bekakhanya ebusweni.
I can't remember well, my lord, but the only thing I can remember is the person's complexion, that the person was light in complexion.
And when you left for Malbatin, what happened to your crutches?
Kwenzekani ke amakrachi akho nkathi senihamba ke manje niya eMalbatin?
Ama-crutches athathwa.
They were taken?
Yeah, athathwa.
At which stage?
Athathwa nini?
I'm not sure athathwa nini because mabe bawabuyisa sengise bawabuyisa nini? Wathatha after some time sakhumbula ukuthi bawabuyisa nini but ngasayina sebewabuyisa but bese ngisedebe ngasayina sebewabuyisa. I think ngisanayo nencwadi leyo. I think isakhona nencwadi yawo esedebeni.
I'm not certain about the time, but when they were returned, I was already in Durban, and I also signed, my lord, when they were returned. I still have the document with the signature were reflecting that they were returned.
But when you left for Malbatin on the night in question, did you take them along or what was the position?
Ngalesi sikhathi senihamba ke niye eMalbatin, ingaba wahamba nawo noma kwenzekani?
Angisakhumbuli noma ayikhona.
I can't recall or remember whether they were there or not.
Okay.
Yes.
Do you know if photos were taken there on the premises?
Notisanga lo ngaze ngibone lo angizange
I
ngibone.
didn't notice that. I never saw that.
If photo 4 can be shown there of Exhibit A, that appears on page 7 of the bundle, my lord. Photo 4. Also, photo 5.
Firstly, Your Lordship, Your Justice, precisely what I was raising yesterday. The photo that the state trying to show now, it is leading, because this witness could not answer the previous question that was asked by the state. The state, by showing this photo, wants to lead the witness. With due respect, yesterday, Your Lordship, when I objected to this showing of the photos, the state replied and said that the album must be provisionally admitted because they will call the witness. What I heard from the Honorable Court was that, I'm not sure whether the court said yeah or okay, but I'm not sure whether the court agreed with the state that they must be accepted provisional or not. I expected the court to make a ruling whether the question must be allowed and the photos are accepted provisionally. Now, the witness was asked the question. He is evasive in his own examination chief. He could not answer that question. The state, by showing the photo, he wants to lead the witness. It was going to be understandable if it is the defense that asked that question, and under re-examination, the state shows the photos. In this moment, definitely, it doesn't need a rocket scientist to see that the state is leading this witness. As a court basis.
Mr. Baloyi.
Well, firstly, my lord, the exhibits that the state is referring to are contained in Exhibit A. That's Sergeant Musia's photo album. He has testified. So I don't know on what basis my learned friend is objecting against that.
Your Lordship, whether it's album A or B, let's say it's A. It's taken, it's A. It was not compiled by this witness, Your Lordship. Now, the most important thing, the gist of it, this witness was asked a question he could not answer. Then the state produces a photo that will lead to the witness to be able to answer that question. As a court basis.
My lord, without belaboring the point, the objection of my learned friend was based on the fact that the person who compiled the photo album has not yet testified. Now we are saying this photo album was compiled by Sergeant Musia and he's already testified. Now he's saying this witness did not compile the photo album. We submit, my lord, that this exhibit has been proven, the witness has testified, and secondly, the witness has referred to the scratches that he saw on his return from the hospital. He also mentioned a hat, and he's described it that he saw from the hospital. So all that the state is doing, my lord, is to show him a photo, to ask him to comment on the photo. That is all. The witness has already referred to those exhibits. We submit, my lord, that it's perfectly permissible question, my lord.
I rule that the question is allowed.
As the court pleases, my lord, if you can have a look, photo 4 and photo 5. Can you show photo 5? Can you describe to the court what appears on photo 5?
Chazela ke inkantolo ukuthi ubonani ke kulesi sithombe u5.
Yeah, iwo lawa ama-crutches wami. Elinye lama-crutches wami la.
That's one of my crutches, the witness pointing to.
Because ngikhumbula mangifika mawumnyango ungene edanini bekune-heater la bengiwanciso ebondini kune-heater la phansi. Khumbula kahle mangifika uma.
Because I remember when I just got there, when I arrived there, there was a heater there, and I just placed them against the wall there. So the witness was still saying that the witness is pointing to an item that is on the floor on picture 5 and saying that that's one of his crutches.
And that photo number
5, my lord.
Photo number 5, my lord.
of exhibit?
Exhibit A, Sergeant Messiah's album.
Isigqoko naso besikhona ukuthi angiboni kahle lesi ukuthi sinjani.
The head was also there, just that I can't see.
Ukuthi sinjani.
I can't see properly as to how this one looks like.
Lesi besisikotshi esincane sinamabala amnyama namhlophe.
Because that one was a head that was scotch-like, which had a small one which had black and white colors.
Yes. Photo 6. I'm sorry, my lord.
Yeah, be clear. Are you saying is the head you saw? Because you are saying at the same time it had black and white colors. When you look at that, does it look like the head you saw on that day?
Uma ubheka lesi ngabe siyafana yini nalesi owakusibonile wena?
Ngaqala nisikhombise simile because umuntu obekangena endlini wayesigqoke siso. Manje wasesibheke phezulu. Angani noma ngasibona yini masimile
I
sonke.
don't know whether I'll be able, because now the manner in which it appears on the photo is not the manner in which the person had it on when he entered the house. So if the head can be turned, my lord.
Yes?
And photo 6. Can you describe to the court what appears in the photo?
Ngachazela inkantolo ukuthi yini elal photo 6.
Ma-crutches nasi isigqoko.
The crutches as well as the head.
If you say the crutches, how many crutches are they?
Liyi-one.
It's one
It's one of my crutches.
of my crutches.
Yes.
Naso-ke isigqoko lesi.
As well as the head. It's pointing to the head.
Okay. If you say as well as the head, well, can you just elaborate?
Ungachaza-ke uma uthi naso-ke isigqoko lesi.
Ya bekhona nesigqoko but angisiboni kahle lesi abebisona yini kodwa bekhona nesigqoko phansi.
Yes, there was a head on the floor, but I'm unable to see properly whether this is the head.
Yes?
Thank you. Do you remember more or less what time you left the premises for Malberton?
Usakhumbula
Oh, just before that, what you only pointed to one crutch there. What happened to your other crutch?
ukhombeke icrash eyodwa laphayana kwenzekani ngenye icrash yakho?
Angazi kwenzekani ngelinye sithi bengishilo ukuthi isikhathi ngiyala nje umuntu wayeliphethe uzandi ne. engangibona iphethe crutches.
I don't
So
know.
I think belikhona endlini but bengazi ukuthi linda.
I don't know what happened to it since I explained earlier on that the person that was carrying them or that was carrying it was Zandi. So I think it was around the house, but I don't know where precisely.
The person who was carrying it was who?
Zandi, my lord.
Zandi.
Who was carrying what?
Or a pattern
Wayephethe iyona crutches eshanga ngayo lo muntu.
who had the crutch and assaulting the person.
Yes.
Yes, you may proceed. Do you remember more or less what time you left the premises for Malberton?
Usakhumbula ukuthi isikhathi nahamba ngaso senisuka lapha niya eMalbertine.
Anginayisho ngesikhathi but kwakuseyintatha. Tata ukuthi anginayisho ukuthi ngesikhathi ekuzedana ukuthi.
I'm not certain about the exact time, but it was in the early hours of the morning.
Yes.
And how did you get to Malberton?
Nafika kanjani ke eMalbertine?
Njengoba sengisho escort.
As I've already mentioned that we were being escorted,
Yes. But which vehicle were you using?
nanihamba ngayiphi imoto?
Sasamba nge-BM. Yeah. Sasamba nge-BM.
I think we were traveling in the BM.
Yes, which BMW?
Yiphi yona? The one belonging to Senzo.
And who were the occupants at that stage?
Obani ababephakathi ngaleso sikhathi leso?
I think besibayi 4 because ngikhumbula uKay athi angeke sahlala amuzi uzothengisa. I think besibawu 4 because noma wakhe walala khona. Salala sayani sonke noma wakhe nomntwana eMalbertine.
I think there were 4 of us because I also remember Kelly saying that she won't be able to stay in that house anymore. She was going to sell it, and I think the mother was there as well as the child,
No Zandi.
as well as Zandi.
And who was driving the vehicle?
Yaqhutywa ubani imoto?
Okay.
Ubani eshayela?
Okay.
It was Kelly.
Yes.
Yes, you may proceed.
Okunye ngikhumbula amaseMalbertine. Wafika amaphoyisa.
The other thing that I do remember was we were in Malbertine. The police arrived.
Then mawungena egate awuvela ungene kunama-security angidlapha kuyanda.
When you gain access to the gate or when you get into the gate, you don't just go in because there are securities there.
Yes.
Yebo?
So I think bafonele endlini la besikhona ukuthi ngamaphoyisa la ini.
I think they contacted or they called the house where we were to inform or to inform that there were police there.
Then uKay wathi abangawavulile.
And then Kelly told them not to open for the police. Okay, let's leave it.
Do you know who called?
Uyazi ukuthi ubani wafona efonele endlini lana nikhona?
Ngokucabanga abantu abasegate before umuntu angene egate angeke angene ungacontactanga wena.
I think it was the people at the gate because according to my knowledge, my lord, when you are at the gate, they won't just allow you in before them contacting the house or the people you are going to.
My lord, just for the flow of the evidence, I didn't establish from my learned friends if they'll object to that PSA evidence. If they've got no objection, we can just allow the witness to testify about that, my lord.
Can you come again? I didn't hear you.
Say, I didn't establish for my learned friends if they have any objection against this evidence. If they don't have any objection, we can just allow the witness about what Ms. Kelly Kumalo said.
Yes?
Your Lordship, we don't have objection as long as Ms. Kelly Kumalo will be called by the state as the witness.
My lord, all the state needs to do is to inform the courts and ask that the portion of that evidence be provisionally accepted because Ms. Kelly Kumalo will be called to testify as the court pleases me.
As the court please, my lord, there's a provision that we can by consent.
Come again?
I'm saying in terms of the Hearsay Act, if the defense consent to the evidence, it can go in. That's what I was trying to establish, whether it can go in by consent.
Yeah, but you had they give provisos.
As the court pleases, in that case, then we'll just request that the evidence be provisionally allowed in terms of the other subsection of the Hearsay Act. Yes, you may proceed.
Since bekade awungavulela amaphoyisa angazi ukuthi agcine angene kanjani ngaphakathi.
Seeing that she had said or informed the person not to allow the police in, I don't know as to how the police ended up gaining access.
Yes.
Yeah.
Can you tell me, you spoke of being escorted
Yes.
from the Kumalo house in Foslores to Malberton. Who was escorting you?
Angithuzwe singaphendula.
Ile ndoda empofu engikhuluma ngayo engingayazi. The only thing engayikhumbula ukuthi ayamba nge-BMW e-white.
Okay. It's this man I referred to that was light in complexion, unknown man that was light in complexion. The only thing that I can recall, my lord, is that he was traveling in a white BMW.
Yes.
And when you got to Malberton, what happened to this vehicle that was escorting you?
Nathi ke uma senifika eMalberton, le moto ke enye escort. Kwenzekani ngayo?
I think baphindele emuva because yayingasekho umuntu odriver phela ngaphakathi. I think babuyele emuva.
I think they went back because inside the person who was driving it wasn't there. So I think they drove back.
Yes.
Yes, you may continue. You say the police gained access to the premises in Malberton. What happened?
Usungaqhubeka ke uthi awazi ukuthi agcine ngena kanjani amaphoyisa usungaqhubeka ke usuka lapho.
Mayisangenile lamaphoyisa shouldmo meza I think bawabone ezawabona phela or something because since athi akucisha ugesi mayise because ayiselunguza afuna ukulunguza ngama-blind.
Okay. When the police were now inside, and as they were, I think Kelly must have seen them, and because they wanted to peep through the blinds, and that's when she instructed that the electricity should be switched off. Okay, what happened?
Yes.
Yes, you may continue.
Yebo.
Then after we switch off ugesi angazi ukuthi wafonela bani okwenzakalani because ngathi kwaphuma iorder thizeni because bavele bahamba futhi nalabantu labo.
Awazi ukuthi ubani wafonela bani.
I think uyena ukhili wafona
Okay,
ngazi
yeah,
ukuthi
no,
bekafonela.
ngifuna leyo ndawo, okay. Ngifuna leyo ndawo. Because after the electricity was switched off, I don't know who did Kelly call, and then I think that a certain order then came out, and then they just left.
Yes.
Yes, you may proceed.
Yebo, ngaqhubeka mfethu.
So then amaphoyisa abuyela ahamba ke.
Then the police left the premises.
Abuye wasitshwa on ugesi ke.
Then the electricity was switched on again.
Yes, you may proceed.
Angingayishosho ngamalanga ukuthi kwakuyiliphi ilanga but while ngisakhona eMalbathini kuke kwafika uChico Dwala.
I'm just not sure about the day, my lord. But whilst I was still in Malverton, Chico Twala arrived.
Yeah, just a minute. Yes.
Yeah.
Chuthi ukeli ngwana ukeli wayekhala kulowo malanga le nami ngingekho right chuthi uye watshela uChico ukuthi no umngane wakaSenzo lona.
Okay. Because Kelly was crying within those days, and I was also not well. So she's the one who informed, that is now Kelly informed Chico that this is Senzo's friend.
And
Yebo.
can you just explain who's Mr. Chico Twala?
Umukhuluma ngoChico Twala ubani?
Ubaba waka Longo.
Longwe's father.
Yes.
Yebo.
Okunye okuningi ngamuzwa ekhuluma noKelly embuza ukuthi akafuni ukuthi aye holding or something phesheya nani.
I heard him speak to Kelly, inquiring from Kelly if she wasn't interested or didn't she want to go overseas for some holiday.
Yes, a good.
And, Your Lordship, the reason why I stood up, I'm not disrespecting the officer of the court who is interpreting. The witness said, I have benefit of the language. Kelly to go in,
I can't hear you.
take Kelly to go in hiding overseas, not on vacation.
The witness is shaking his head.
So mnumzwana ungizwanga kahle.
You didn't hear me properly, sir.
Ngithe
I said-
wamubuza ukuthi akafuni yini ukuye holding.
I said, he asked her if she didn't want to go on holiday.
Khulumanga ngokucasha.
I never spoke about hiding.
That's God, please.
So African Shilolo was also on her feet, so I don't know if she wants to object.
Yes.
My lord, I just wanted to confirm if the state will be calling the Chico Twala because the witness had. Thank you.
As a court, please, my lord, should it become relevant, we will consider that, but may that evidence be provisionally allowed, just to facilitate the presentation of the evidence, my lord.
Yes?
Yes, you may continue.
Usungaqhubeka.
omunye ngakumamela cause uthixo uthanda wabasefonini.
Yes, you don't need to go into details.
Ungafaki kimi ungasudalula kimi imininingwane.
Yes. You arrived there at Maubatten. Did you spend the rest of the night there at Maubatten?
Specifically him or the group?
Yes, you and the people that you've mentioned.
Nafika ke khona lapho eMalbertine ingabe ke nasenhlitha ke ubusuku khona lapho noma?
Ya as umuntu wayevele evakashele khona ngalala khona nomthongo futhi hayi ngoba ngangidlela ubuthongo babungafiki. But ngangivakavele ngivakashele khona eMalbertine.
Yes.
Ayikho indawo engangalala kuyona ngaphandle kwale ndawo ngangivakashele kuyona.
Yes, my lord, because the place that I originally came to visit was Malbertine, so I slept there. But it was not a matter of like I slept because I couldn't sleep, as in like in sleep and I couldn't sleep, be fast asleep, my lord. So there was no other place where I could have slept except Malbertine.
Was it your first time in Malberton?
Kwakuyihlandla lakho lokuqala eMalbertine?
Cha kwangasile uqala kwalesibili.
No, my lord, it was my second time.
Yes.
Yes, you say it was not for the first time. What were the circumstances of the first visit?
Nanjengoba usho-ke ukuthi lona ihlandla lokuqala uya khona eMalbertine. Okokuqala uthi kwakuwolwesibili manje. Okokuqala-ke wawuye kanjani noma usuke yini?
Ngingachaza lokuthi ngaphambilini ukuthi Senzo uyangifonela athi angize kude.
I mentioned this previously that Senzo used to call me and ask me to come to him.
So the first visit was when the deceased was still alive.
Ukuya kwakho kuqala-ke wayesaphila.
Ya wayesaphila.
Yes, he was still alive.
Yes.
Yes, you may proceed.
Usungaqhubeka.
What happened then further?
Kwenzekani?
Khona la isake saya khona kuze into enzeke kudala ne. Khona la saya khona siyokwenza silanda amaphoyisa because besinokulanda amaphoyisa ne. Abese suggest ukuthi ukhela shi imoto.
Okay,
Senzo.
because this happened long ago, there was an occasion when we were fetched by the police and we went somewhere. And during that occasion, the police told or instructed Kelly to leave Senzo's car.
Do you remember when that was?
Usakhumbula ukuthi kwakunini?
Ngingako bengithe angikhumbula ama date kakhulu because lento yenzeke I think 7 years back or 8 years back. Angikhumbula ama date but ngiyazikhumbula nezinye izinto ezaziyenzeka because saye kokwenza ID parade kudala ngala nokuthi kuphi lapho.
Hence I said that I'm unable to recall or remember the dates, but I just remember some of the things that happened. And this happened about 7 or 8 years ago. And we also went to attend to an ID parade, but I don't know where.
Yes.
So the time when Kelly was asked to leave a vehicle behind was at the occasion where you were going for an ID parade.
Ngabe ngalesi sikhathi lesi kuthiwa kuKelly akashiye imoto ngasemuva. Ingabe yile nkathi le enaniye kwi-ID parade ngayo?
njengoba ngishilo ukuthi ngikhumbula izinto ebezenzeka ama-date angawakhumbula ukuthi ingalelo langa because sike sakodweba nale ndoda le yama-Madrid.
Okay,
So
but-
angazi ukuthi iliphi ilanga lapho because wagoloza ukushiya imoto wathi imoto yababongane yakhe.
All right. My Lord, hence I said that I'm unable to remember the dates, but I'm able to remember the incident or the things that happened. Because there was even a day where we had to go and make a sketch or draw this person with a sketch of this person with the dreadlocks. And I can also remember that she refused to leave the vehicle and said that that vehicle belonged to the father of her child.
What did you say about the face?
Ukhona into ekhulumile ngobuso kusebenza.
Sike salanda futhi siyochaza lo muntu owenza ama-dread ukuthi ube kanjani.
Okay, we were fetched, my Lord, to give a description of the person with the dreadlocks.
Ukuthi wena ubone ini, wena ubone ini.
So we were asked individually, what did you see? What did you see?
Yes.
Yes, we will get to that in a while. What we're trying to establish in the morning, what happened.
Sizama nje ukuthi
You
sazi
spend the night there, what happens in the morning.
nalala khona laphayana kwase kwenzekani ke ekseni.
Bekuleke kufika abantu nje endlini.
People,
Bekuleke kufika abantu endlini because omunye wabantu abafiki ngimaziyo. Kunomfana abathi bani akhumzi. Ngobani?
bambe lapho. People kept on coming to the house, my Lord, because there's also this guy that arrived there. I think it's Akumzi.
Yes.
Yep.
Let's put it to this way. Did you make a statement in this matter?
Ingabe sikhona yini statement owasenza mayelana nalo daba?
Ngakuthi bekuleke kufika abantu endlini.
Statement uzama ukubuza
Ukuthi
umuntu
ngasenza about ini.
about lokho kwenzeka ngamayo konke kwenzeka.
Abantu ababengenza i-statement, ababengibuza i-statement isikhathi esiningi. Angazi ngayibeka kanjani, angifuni ukuba disrespectful but abebengabuzi like each and everything eyenzeke ngaphandle, bebebuza lento eyenzeka kakhulu endlini.
Okay. My Lord, the people that were asking me about statements, I don't want to be disrespectful, but the people that were asking me, they were not asking me much about what had happened outside, but they asked me about what was happening inside the house.
No. We hear that. We hear that. But the question is whether you ever made a statement.
No.
Whatever it was about, whether it was about what happened outside or inside, did you make a statement which was then made known to you to be a statement?
About this matter, about le ukuthi kwangena umuntu emalbathini or statement is about lento le.
This is not clear about the
Yes.
statement in Malbertin, about this matter, about someone came in Malbertin.
Yeah, we're just trying to establish, did you make a statement regarding this incident?
Ngenza
Mayelana
i-statement
nalo-
eningi.
I made a lot of statements.
Okay, let's talk about, sorry.
Yes?
Let's talk about the first statement. Do you remember when it was made?
Asikhulume ngesokuqala ke uyakhumbula ukuthi senziwa nini sona noma wasenza nini?
ngasebusuku masibuya esibhedlela njengoba ngisho khona iphoyisa lade ngikhuluma khona ngomfundisi ukuthi khona iphoyisa nala khona elalingibuza lalibhala nalo
Alright.
nase-Fort.
Even my Lord, in the evening when we came back from the hospital, as I said that there was also a pastor there, there was a police that was asking, and that police officer was writing down, even in Phosphorus.
Yes?
You testified earlier on that you were fetched by police. Was there a stage where you were taken to Fort Lauderdale police station?
Ushilo-ke ukuthi kunenkathi la khona-ke nizolandwa amaphoyisa. Ingabe sikhona isikhathi la khona-ke nathathwa nahanjiswa nasiwa e-police station yase-Fort Lauderdale?
Yebo,
Yes.
Yes. When was that?
Kwakunini?
angisayikhumbuli idate.
Can't remember the date.
Yes, but
Can I clarify something?
yes.
Yeah.
ngicela le ama-date cause njengoba umuntu nami angeke ngikhumbule into eyenzeka 10 years or 20 years back or 8 years back ukuthi yenzeka ngasiphi isikhathi nanani le ama-date ithanda ukungixaka so
sorry.
bengingacela ukuthi manibuza umbuzo le ama-date ngingayifaki
May I
cause
request,
angibuki idate njalo uma ngenzile.
when I'm doing something, I don't look at the dates, and I'm a human being, so I won't be able to remember something that happened 10, 20 years ago. So may I request that with regards to the date that I not be asked about the dates.
Yes, that's fair enough.
Mr. Madala,
Yes.
that's not how it should happen.
Okay.
He will ask questions.
Okay.
If the question relates to a date you don't remember, you will state, I can't remember the date.
Okay.
So don't take it as an offense if you are asked about a date. And everyone does forget dates.
You mentioned that you made the first statement in the matter. Would you like to refresh your memory from that statement?
Ingabe ungathanda yini ukusibheka ke leso statement leso nanjengoba ushilo ukuthi wasenze soqala ungathanda yini ukuthi usibheke uyikhumbuze ngaso
Njengamanje.
as in now?
Yes, just
Yebo.
to refresh your memory on the date.
Okay, ungekaphenduli awu.
The problem with that, but the state must lay proper basis. The state has not done laying proper basis. Just state put only one line and that was it, Your Lordship.
Mr. Baloi,
Well, let me still get into that point. If I can perhaps put my friend at ease, we're in the process of doing that, my lord,
okay, let's proceed.
as we've done with other witnesses. Would you like to refresh your memory from your statement?
Ingabe ungathanda yini ukuthi uyikhumbuzeke ngaso istatement sakho?
If kubalekile noma if kufanele ngikwenze lokho ngakwenza.
If it's
But
important
kungabalekile,
and if it's a must for me to do it, I will do it. But if it's not important,
Yes. The statement that you made, the first statement, was it reduced to writing?
esoqala istatement owasenza ingabe sabhalwa phansi yini?
njengoba ngingasho labantu abengibhalisa i-statement mina angazi ngizobachaza kanjani. Angikaze ayikho into engayibhala mina.
Okay, as I previously said that I don't know how to mention this, that the people that were taking statements from me, and there's nothing that I wrote down.
Bekubhala bona mina ngakhuluma babengibuza imibuzo.
They were
Babhale bona.
They were asking me questions, I spoke, and then they would write down.
Yes?
Do you know if you
May I say something?
Yes.
Yeah.
And abanye balabantu ababe-investigator bebafika emsebenzini
And some of the, sorry, correct.
bafike nama-handcuffs bafike nani lesithi abazongifaka kuyo ngemuva.
Some of the people that did the investigation or that were investigating would arrive at work They would come there with handcuffs and then handcuff.
No, mabeke la engizohlala
Oh,
khona
okay.
nalento maphepha yellow lawo.
And with some yellow documents, they would put the handcuffs where I would be sitting, on the chair that I would be sitting on, right at the back.
Bangisabisa nje benza yonke into.
Threatening me and doing all sort of things.
And the other thing bebanokusilanda eDurban. Bangathengi ngisho ukudla from Durban. So expect sibhayile ukudla sizala.
And they would fetch us from Durban, my lord, not even buy for us food. We would buy food for ourselves, traveling all the way to here.
But leyo ngayireport ke ya stop kuyenzeka.
I reported that and it stopped happening.
Do you recall if there was an occasion where all the people who were in the house were called to Foslaras police station?
Ingabe usakhumbula yini ukuthi kwakunenkathi khona bonke abantu ababephakathi endlini eFosloras babizwa bebizelwa epolice station laseFosloras?
Ngisakhumbula besibangaka epolice station.
Okay?
Because besaphindela futhi amafoni aselekehleli bengawabuyisa amafoni ethu. Because the reason bengasabuyela eDurban ngisahleli lapha eMalbatini bengengishiya ifoni yami ngemini.
I can't remember how many of us were at the police station, but I remember there was a time when we went there and our phones were still not given back to us. And the reason why I was still in Malbatin and unable to go back to Durban because I would not have left my phone behind.
Do you remember what happened on that occasion when you went to Foslaras police station?
Ngaleli hlandla leli enaya ngalo epolice station laseFosloras ingabe usakhumbula yini ukuthi kwenzekani?
If you don't remember, it's fine.
Ungasho uma ungakhumbuli.
Angikhumbulaza kwabhala i-statement.
What I recall,
Yona ngikhumbulayo leyo. Esibili kwenziwa.
what I do remember was that statements were written.
Yes.
Kwathatha i-statement and bengabanye abafana abawuthuka babekhona. Ngazo labafana laba babela estradini since kwenzeka kodwa bekunabafana abawuthuka.
The other thing that I do remember, there were two gentlemen. I don't know whether it's gentlemen who belonged in the street there, but there were two gentlemen. Uma utestradini kuphi?
Foslaras.
Okay, I don't know whether it was guys who stayed in the same street in Foslaras, but there were two other gentlemen.
Yes.
Bese kube uyena cause indlela engikhumbula ngakhona besicabana umfana noLonge.
And what I do remember is that we were arguing or we were fighting with this gentleman. We were arguing with Ulongwe.
Yes.
Because izinto ebengimbuza zona ukuthi nambe ngikwati izinto ebengimbuza zona ukuthi how come ukuthi mangena abantu befuna amafoni wena usuku uyophusha umuntu engabe sibanika lamafoni ngabe usenzo wathengile back if how come ukuthi ungaphusha umuntu uphinde uyodlula kowesibili at least wangabamba ngalo
Because
ngaleyo ntatheni beyofuna i-backup.
Because the things or the questions that I was posing to him, my lord, were how come or how does it happen that someone comes in and asks for phones? Why didn't you just give the person the phones and instead you get up and push the person? Maybe Senzo could have been able to buy those phones back, and then you still managed to get past the second person. And then he said, no, he went to look for backup.
My Lord, he's one of the potential witnesses. We'll just ask that the evidence be provisional allowed. You mentioned in your evidence that you attended an identification parade.
Yes.
Do you remember more or less how long after the incident did you attend the identification parade?
Usakhumbula ukuthi kwakusemuva kwesikhathi esingakanani isehlakalo senzeka ukuya kwakho noma ukuya kwenu kwi-ID parade?
No, ngikhumbula ukuthi sasingena nga-1, sahlala ngokuhlukana, sasingahleli endlini eyi-1, sahleli ngokuhlukana kuleyo police station, ingeni nga-1.
What I
Ngikhumbula i-date.
I don't remember the date. What I do recall is that we were seated in different rooms at that police station, and then we would go in one by one.
Do you remember at which police station the identification parade took place?
Usakhumbula ukuthi kwakuyiphi police station la i-ID parade yenziwa khona?
Angiyazi ya police station, but I think it's a dropping.
I don't know that police station, but I think it's in town.
What do you mean?
Kusho ukuthini?
Because
What did he say? What did he say in Zulu?
I don't know that police station, but I think it's in town. Sorry? I'm not certain whether it's GP, I'm not certain.
Yes.
You say you were held in separate rooms. Did you attend the room, or did you go to the room wherein the identification parade was held?
Ushilo-ke ukuthi nanihlezi kuma-room ahlukile. Ingabe-ke la khona-ke i-parade yayikhona-ke, ngaba waya khona?
yeah, ngangena.
Yes, I went in.
Yes.
And during this occasion, did you identify anyone during that identification parade?
Ekungeneni kwakho-ke lapho, ingabe ukhona yini umuntu owamazi noma ukhona yini umuntu owamkhomba?
Sorry man, le yokungena. I think kwangena nga-1.
Yebo.
Kwangena nga-1 kwi-ID parade. I'm not, hayi ukuthi mhlambe angisanayisho sahleli sahlala ndawonye then sekubizwa nga-1 kwi-ID parade ne. Kwabizwa nga-1.
With regards to going in, my lord, I'm not certain as to, with regards to going in there, I'm not certain as to whether we all sat in one room and then when you are being called, they call one person at a time.
Yes.
Yeah, but the question now is, at that exercise, the identity parade, did you get to identify any of the people there were to be identified?
Umbuzo ke manje uthi ke usungenile ke sekufanele ukuthi ke ubhekeke uboneke ingabe ukhona yini umuntu owamazi ukhona yini umuntu owamkhomba.
Kuleyo ID parade njengoba ngenza yona akekho engamkhomba because akekho engangimbona kuyona.
At that ID parade, there's no one that I pointed out because there was no one that I was able to see there, or that I could see.
So if you say there was no one you could see, what do you mean?
Usho ukuthini ukuthi akekho wambona?
Ngisho ukuthi ayikho engimrecognizeayo kulabantu abangenendlini.
I'm saying that there was no one I could recognize from the people or amongst the people that entered the house.
My Lord, will this be an appropriate time to take the long adjournment?